After John Belushi died in 1982, John Candy started telling friends he was living on borrowed time. He was 31. He had 12 years left, and he seemed to know it. He tried to lose weight. The industry pulled him back. He tried to slow down. The contracts wouldn't let him. In his final weeks, he was chain-smoking, barely sleeping, and filming a movie he never wanted to make. Then came the phone calls on his last night. The things he said to the people he loved sounded like a man saying goodbye without using the word. Newly surfaced recordings and family tapes, including those featured in the 2025 documentary, John Candy. I Like Me. Prove It. John Candy came into the world on Halloween, October 31, 1950, in Newmarket, Ontario. From the start, his life carried that strange mix of celebration and shadow. He was raised in a working-class pocket of Toronto, where people worked hard and leaned on family. Then, Halloween stopped being only a birthday. In 1955, when John was 4, his father collapsed from heart trouble and died at just 35. One day, Sydney was there, and then he was gone. Evangeline was 39, suddenly alone with 2 boys. What made it worse was the silence. The family barely talked about it, as if naming the pain would make it larger. John learned to carry it quietly. That quiet turned into anxiety that followed him for years. And it left a darker thread running underneath a heart risk that sat in the family like a secret nobody wanted to face. Later, when John looked at his own life, he sometimes acted like he was living on borrowed time. That feeling only sharpened when his friend John Belushi died in 1982 at 33. Friends said that loss fed John's hunger to be liked, to be wanted, to be loved. So he chased the sound that could fill a room fastest laughter. At Neil McNeil Catholic High School, he found sports first football, hockey until a knee injury crushed that dream. When that door closed, he needed another way to feel powerful. That's when the stage began to pull him in. Drama Club gave him control, characters he could step into and out of, and a room where he could turn nervous energy into applause. The shy, overweight kid started to find a different kind of strength. By 1969, he enrolled at Centennial College to study journalism. But performance kept calling. Friends like Dan Aykroyd pushed him toward an audition at Second City, Toronto. Director Del Close saw him and treated him like someone who belonged on a bigger stage. Candy went to Chicago in 1973, joining the main stage. 6 shows a week, endless rehearsal, constant rewriting. He soaked it up, then returned to Toronto in 1974 to help build Canadian comedy. Even then, there was a private battle running alongside the public laughs. Friends later described how he could be the loudest in rehearsal, then disappear after the show, eating alone in a hotel room. Not because he was rude, but because shyness and shame hit hard once the lights went out. That pattern followed him into famed stories of him avoiding being seen eating, then binging later when nobody was watching. By the mid-1970s, all that work began to gather. In 1976, he joined the cast that created CTV with Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Harold Ramis, and others. The pace was brutal. Monthly episodes, then weekly. Candy was not just acting, he was writing, performing, shaping the tone. On May 23, 1981, NBC picked up SCTV for 90-minute Friday late-night slots. Suddenly, millions of us viewers saw this Canadian crew every week. SCTV won Emmys for Outstanding Writing in 1981 and 1982, beating Saturday Night Live both years. Candy was not just a warm giant who could steal a scene. He was part of the writing brain that made the whole machine work. But the grind took a cost. After Belushi's death, Candy stepped away from cocaine, but alcohol stayed. The pressure did not pause. Even as Hollywood circled, he still had to break through the wall that kept him boxed into supporting roles. Splash arrived in 1984, directed by Ron Howard, and Candy's scenes became the ones people replayed. Still, studio thinking could be cruel. There were producers who doubted that an overweight Canadian comic could carry a big-budget comedy. That doubt kept him fighting for years. By the late 1980s, he entered the stretch people still talk about as his peak. In early 1987, Steve Martin came to Candy's home to rehearse planes, trains, and automobiles. They clicked fast. Filming became a battle with freezing weather and delays, yet inside that mess, Candy delivered moments that hit deeper than comedy, including the motel monologue where his character opens up in a painfully human way. Martin later said it brought real tears because it was not a joke. It was truth hiding inside a funny man. John Hughes understood what Candy could do better than almost anyone. He wrote Uncle Buck in 1989 as a showcase, letting Candy be warm, chaotic, and strangely heroic. The film earned about $79 million, proving again that Candy could lead. Then came Home Alone in 1990. Candy did the role as a favor to Hughes and filmed all his scenes in about 23 straight hours for only $414. He improvised so much that the filmmakers kept it because it was too good to lose. That late-night van conversation came from his mind in the moment, fueled by exhaustion and skill. The movie went on to earn about $476 million worldwide. But behind the laughs, he was dealing with something most people never knew about. The 2025 documentary John Candy, I Like Me, which premiered at TIFF on September 4th, revealed he struggled with chronic anxiety and panic attacks, especially in his last years. Friends said airports, planes, and hotel rooms before filming could trigger it. He went to therapy, trying to understand what was happening. The public saw the warm comedian who made everything feel safe. The private circle saw a man who sometimes could not breathe through his own thoughts. Doctors warned him too. After films like Summer Rental, he was told to lose weight, quit smoking, and stop drinking. John made real efforts. He hired trainers. He lost a significant amount of weight by 1988, for who's Harry Crumb? He took up golf and played constantly. But the cycle kept snapping back. Agents and industry people would call with the same message. Slimming down could cost him the big paychecks. In a 2026 interview promoting the documentary, his son Chris spoke about how Hollywood actively discouraged his father from getting healthy. They told him his size was his brand, Chris said. That's a horrible thing to say to anyone. Even interviewers mocked his size on camera. In old promo clips being reshared on social media this year, reporters asked him if his weight was a curse or a gift, and whether he could even live with himself. John would smile and deflect that was his survival skill. But his son Chris, now 41, and appearing in a 2026 Super Bowl commercial for DraftKings alongside Ben Affleck, recently said that watching those tapes as an adult was shocking. You could see the frustration building even when he stayed polite, Chris told People magazine in February 2026. That constant focus changed how John moved through the world. He grew nervous, eating in public. He hid food in trailers. When people treat you like a joke long enough, you start living like you have to earn your place in every room. John married Rosemary Margaret Hober in 1979. She was an artist, calm and private. As his career exploded, Rosemary stayed close but never chased the spotlight. Friends said she had a rare power over him. She could make him sit still when everything around him felt like noise. They had 2 children, Jennifer, born 1980, and Chris, born 1984. John adored them. But love did not erase the fear inside him. His father died on John's 5th birthday, and that loss sat in the background like a question he could not answer whether he would repeat the same story with his own children. Because of that, he fought to show up. Friends talked about him leaving shoots and driving huge distances just to catch Jennifer in a school play. There was another love in John's life besides his family Canadian football. In February 1991, he joined Wayne Gretzky and Bruce McNall in buying the Toronto Argonauts for $5 million. John poured over $1 million of his own savings into it. That same year, on November 24, 1991, the Argos won the Grey Cup. John was on the sidelines beaming, looking like a kid who got handed the one thing he never stopped loving. But even that got tangled in betrayal. During the time he was filming later projects, he learned McNall had sold the team secretly. John was left on the wrong end of the deal, tied to losses. People who saw him that day said he went quiet in a way that scared them. Then came his final stretch, a grind that never let him breathe. In 1993 and early 1994, he moved through films back-to-back with no real break. Cool Runnings became a hit. He then filmed Canadian Bacon from October to December 1993. After that, He stepped into Wagons East starting January 1994, tied to a contract, even though he did not love the script. Crew members later talked about how exhausted he seemed. His weight climbed again near 350 pounds. Smoking grew heavier. Anxiety kept spiking. His last night, March 3, 1994, carried a strange tenderness. After a long day filming in Durango, Mexico, he went back to his hotel room and cooked spaghetti for his assistants. Simple, almost domestic, like he wanted one normal moment in the middle of the chaos. Later that night, after midnight, he made calls that people never forgot. He called co-stars like Richard Lewis and Robert Picardo, thanking them for the day in a voice that sounded gentle and childlike. He also called home and spoke to Jennifer and Chris, telling them he loved them. By early morning on March 4, 1994, he was gone. Assistants found him in his room. Later accounts said he was sitting up with a Bible open, as if he had been searching for something steady in his final moments. He died of a heart attack at 43 after years of warnings, cycles, pressure, and fear that he rarely spoke out loud. The family history that took his father at 35 reached for him too. Rosemary kept the family grounded after that, still private, still protective. Jennifer and Chris carried the story forward in their own ways. In 2025, they helped co-produce John Candy, I Like Me, digging through family tapes, interviews, and old footage. Speaking at a TIFF panel in September 2025, Chris said, "I realized I'm the same age he was in some of these clips, and I thought he was just a guy trying his best." The documentary includes never-before-heard audio from those final phone calls. In one, John tells a friend, "I just want to make sure everyone knows I appreciated them." It sounds like a man checking out while pretending to check in. His daughter Jennifer, now 46 and host of the Couch Candy podcast, told The Hollywood Reporter in late 2025, "He wasn't a tragedy. He was a person who worked too hard and loved too much and didn't know how to say no." The secret tapes are not secret anymore. They reveal a man who saw the clock running out and tried, in his last hours, to pour whatever love he had left into a few phone calls. John Candy made the world laugh while quietly trying to outrun the shadow he felt behind him for most of his life. His son Chris now stands on stages at Second City, Toronto, the very place where John launched his rise. That detail feels almost unreal, like time folding in on itself. The son standing where the father once fought to be seen. And in 2026, as the documentary streams on Amazon Prime and a new generation discovers planes, trains, and automobiles, the lesson is not about tragedy. It is about a man who, even when he was dying, wanted to make sure nobody around him felt alone. Subscribe to keep uncovering the truth behind the legends. Thanks for watching.